Welcome to USA Global TV and Radio, where our mission is to provide education, entertainment, hope, and inspiration. USA Global TV and Radio connects you with experts and audiences all around the world every single day to help you succeed in business and to live a richer life. Visit us at usaglobaltv.com to learn about career and life-changing training and mentoring programs like the Listening Mentor. Subscribe to our newsletter to stay informed about our special programs and offers. Discover how you can become a guest on one of our shows or a host or producer of a USA Global TV and Radio show of your very own. That's USA Global TV and Radio, where the doctor is always in.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome home to USA Global TV and Radio. We want to wish a very happy Memorial Day to everyone here in the United States, and also it's a bank holiday in the UK. And we want to recognize all of those who have given their lives for our freedom, for our security, for our safety, and we want to honor all of our veterans. Thank you so much for putting your life on the line for us every day. Our show today is a woman's prerogative, and our topic is the legacy I want to leave. We have two incredible panelists who are with us today, and our others are on holiday. So we celebrate those who are here. Let's welcome, joining us from London, it's Dr. Justina MUTALE. Hello.
Hi, Jacalyn. Hi, everybody. Hi, Jenetta. Good to be speaking to you today on a very important topic on the legacy that we want to leave.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being here. Let's welcome, joining us from Kenya, it's Jenetta Barry in the Epiphany Process. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Hello, Dr. Jacalyn. Hello, Dr. Justina. Just wonderful to be with you here again today.
I appreciate you taking the time, both of you, and this is a really important topic. Before we get into it, for those who are just joining us for the first time and they want to understand who you are and what you do and how you can help them, let's start with Dr. Justina. Tell us.
I am Justina MUTALE. I am originally from Zambia in Africa, but I live and work in England. I'm the founder of the Justina MUTALE Foundation, but I also lead and serve on several boards and several organizations around the world. I'm also the author of The Art of Iconic Leadership. If there's anything that I can teach you, is how to master the art of iconic leadership. And my focus is trying to get women and girls to take up leadership positions to help the world achieve what we are calling a 50-50 planet. So we can have 50% women and 50% female and male perspective on every high-level decision-making table, so that we can have that balance of perspective on each and every item that is discussed to accelerate the world forward.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Dr. MUTALE. You are doing incredible things in this world, and we are honored to have you with us. All right, let's go to the other side of the earth. Let's find out Jenetta Barry, and I'm sure you're happy that we're meeting at this time today instead of later on.
You see my smile is from here to here. I actually feel like a human being. It's the most wonderful feeling. Anyway, so thank you, Dr. Jacalyn. And what am I and how can I help people? After having lost my 16-year-old daughter, Jenny, to suicide after she and I argued, I eventually came, after much studying and research, across a way and developed a way of being able to get through my greatest life test in the most accurate, scientific way, in fact. And I've helped thousands of people all around the world, from terrorist attack victims to children that can't get out of bed, teenagers who can't get out of bed, they're not washing, they're not eating, they're self-harming, they're writing suicide notes, who are now having ordinary lives and actually living their life on purpose, to all sorts of people with challenges having been able to help them get through it. And on top of that, I have a charity arm connected to this process, which is called the Epiphany process. And the charity arm is called World Jenny's Day. And the reason we've created World Jenny's Day is that we realized soon after Jenny died that she'd actually died on World Mental Health Day. And we knew that that was an opportunity that should not be missed in changing conversations around depression and suicide. And we do it every year. We have a whole year of happenings. And then every year on the 10th of October, we have a closing ceremony using performing arts and the arts, which celebrates mental health, wellness, and lifts spirits around the world. And it's last year we did it through the USA Global TV and radio platform, and we're looking at doing the same this year.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Jenetta. It's a pleasure to have you here, and thank you for taking the time. I feel just so honored to be with two such powerful women, and women who are leading their life with their heart. And you both have already created a legacy. I'd love to understand what your idea of your legacy was going to be versus what you've already accomplished today, because there's so much. Let's go over to Dr. Justina.
I don't know what I've accomplished so far, but I think that the legacy that I want to leave, my vision has been to have a planet in which I come from a background of very powerful, strong, assertive women who have always been leaders, women who have always defied the gender dynamics. So believing that women are capable and can be influential leaders, that they have the power to shape the world, that they are the guardians of humanity. I am set on leaving a legacy that helps each and every girl achieve her highest potential, because I believe that each and every girl or every child has potential, and all they need is to be given an opportunity to realize that potential. So what I'm doing with that at the Justina MUTALE Foundation is threefold or even fourfold. For example, we provide leadership and entrepreneurship training for young women and girls so that they can be skilled to take up leadership positions in whatever walk of life that they are coming from. We also do, of course, conferences where we bring women together. We have what is called the World Summit on Women and Girls, at which we commemorate the United Nations International Day of the Girl Child. So we bring women and girls together to have an intergenerational dialogue, so the older women can tell the girls what to do, where we think we have gone wrong, and what the pitfalls are in their journey. And the young girls can also tell us what we could have gone right, and also know what to do and what they need to do. So the legacy, that is the kind of legacy that I want to leave. And with my program, I also have a scholarship program that enables young women and girls, and of course their male counterparts from underprivileged rural communities in Africa who come from families that cannot afford to send them to university. So we give them scholarship to the university. So the legacy that I want to leave is that I would have educated the African child to be able to participate, to participate and compete on equal footing with any other child from around the globe. As you know, Africa has been very slow in trying to catch up with the world, because we came a little bit late to the globalization table. And some of the advancements that some other parts of the world have made, we are yet to catch up. And I believe that with my scholarship program, to take out those African children to the world so they can understand how the world works, they can understand how decisions are made, and they can look at the world with a global perspective. That is the legacy that I want to leave. I want to leave a legacy where we have what the United Nations is aspiring to, called the 50-50 planet. And this is where we can have 50% male perspective and, of course, 50% female perspective at every high-level decision-making table. because as it is now, when you look around in politics, we have a deficit of women's leadership. So far, there's only, I think, 7% women in who are heads of state or head of government. And the United Nations has about 193 member countries. So you can imagine what 7% is. For me, I would like us to have 50% of that number led by women and 50% led by men. And of course, those countries that are led by women should be supported by a male vice president or deputy prime minister. And those that are led by male presidents should be supported by a female vice president. That way we have a 50-50 planet where the perspective, the ideas, the dreams, the ideas, the perspective, the aspirations of women, of course, the challenges that women face, the life experiences that women and girls go through can be brought to those high-level decision-making table. We cannot have men deciding on us on issues that affect women. For example, on abortion, those tables, women need to be there to decide what is right for them because they have the bodies that would go through that abortion. And of course, many other sensitive issues, but at which we find a lot of the time women's perspectives are left out. So that is the kind of legacy that I would like to leave.
Bravo, bravo. Thank you so much. Dr. Mutale, I have a follow-up question, then we'll go over to Jenetta. When did it go from you as a person, a woman, to you and a team and a foundation and a whole platform? How did that evolution take place and when did it start?
The evolution has been taking place stage by stage by stage. But the foundation was formally incorporated in the year in 2015. And this happened because, first of all, I had been already participating in United Nations events, because prior to me branching out on my own, I worked in the Commonwealth Secretariat, and the final division that I worked in was called the gender section, and in which we were tackling, trying to fight for gender equality and of course gender mainstreaming in the Commonwealth. And I used to attend the United Nations meetings every year, the United Nations Commission on the Status of Women. Then when I left, I didn't go back there for about 7 to 8 years. And when I finally went back there, I found that we were discussing the same things. And also by coincidence, it was the time that the world was moving away from the Millennium Development Goals into the Sustainable Development Goals. And I have a daughter who was born at the beginning of the millennium, when the Millennium Development Goals were conceptualized. And then she was turning 15. Now she has become a teenager, and we are going into the Sustainable Development Goals. And I'm looking and seeing that we didn't achieve much in the Millennium Development Goals. And my millennium daughter is already a teenager, and we are going into but what did it for me was when at that meeting, I found myself marching in what was called historical march for gender equality. And I said, but there's been so many marches, so many times that women have marched for gender equality. How long are we going to do this? And I thought of my daughter, and she's 16 now, but by the time of closing the Sustainable Development Goals in 2030, my daughter will be an adult. She'll be 30 years old. My daughter and her peers and all those children born at the beginning of the millennium, at the beginning of the Millennium Development Goals, will be 30 years old. They will be the adults. They'll be the decision makers. They'll be the managers. They'll be the policy makers. They'll be the leaders, the business leaders. And I thought I wouldn't want to see my daughter and her peers ever marching again for this gender equality that has eluded us for so long. I thought, if they were to find themselves having to still fight for gender equality, I'd prefer that they do not use their feet by marching about, that they march with their mind, a mind fully equipped with all the necessary tools, the necessary knowledge, the necessary skills, the necessary ideas to make them compete on equal footing with their male counterparts. And that's when I came back and started the Justina MUTALE Foundation. And of course, like I said, for which we provide leadership and entrepreneurship training. And on top of that, we also do, I believe that education is important, and it helps to remove the poverty and its feminization, because poverty is feminized. Most of the time you find the majority of women are the ones that have suffer and have highly affected with poverty. So I wanted to remove poverty and its feminization by trying to bring up these young women and girls through education. And that's how I started with the scholarship program. So that's how from moving to being an individual, having worked at the Commonwealth Secretariat, contributing to the ideas of the Commonwealth on achieving gender equality and mainstreaming gender in the Commonwealth, then I took that out to do it on my own and also create my own team to come with me, to work with me to do this.
I am speechless. What you've accomplished, we could have an entire week of shows just talking about what it is that you've done. I've got many other questions, but I'll hold it for the moment. We've got a comment here from David Shucky on YouTube. I'm honored to join this. Much love from Africa, Uganda. Thank you for being with us, David.
Thank you, David.
Jenetta, 1 second. I have one more question. So, Dr. Mutale, for anyone out there who's interested in applying for a scholarship, how does that process work?
That process, we have an email address. They can just write to us at email scholarship@justinamutale.com, and we'll send them all the details. We do scholarships for undergraduate, and we also have, we recently acquired a fellowship program for those that are going to do a master's program from Africa into the US. We are currently operating in 6 countries. We started with a budget of $10 million, but now we have been lucky enough to have to move that tenfold, that our funders have now put on the table $100 million, of which our students can access, to give them the opportunity to go and undertake a master's program in the USA. Of course, now we are in the 4th industrial revolution. We are all talking about AI, technology, innovation, and education. So we are trying to meet all of this through the foundation. And this fellowship is called Justina MUTALE Presidential STEM Fellows. So they are going to, it's students that are going to study master's programs in the STEM industry, which is science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. But on top of that, we have also added sport. So that's where we are at. And they can apply. Email scholarship@justinamutale.com.
10 million to 100 million. Amazing accomplishment. Well done. Well done. Thank you. Okay, David Shucky also writes, I'm honored. Thanks again for being here, David. Jenetta, how about you and the epiphany process?
Wow, well, that's quite a hard act to follow, Dr. Justina. That's so admirable and well done. That takes a lot of effort and dedication. So my legacy really stems from having had the epiphany process and helped many people around the world. I do want to be able to hand that over to the next generation, to the people I've been training through my certification program. That's going to take a little more time than right now, but it's there, and I'm looking forward to that day. But the other legacy that's extremely close to my heart is what I mentioned just now, which is World Jenny's Day. And that one has a 300-400 year legacy, and probably even further. And with it having been born through depression and suicide and a loss of a child, I just knew, looking at it in the big view of things, that part of the problem has been that being in one's creative space is kind of marginalized a lot of the time, being scholastic and sporty is given high precedence, and the creative side is kind of like an indulgence. And so with us, we're looking at turning that on its head, because after all, we are creatures of creation, created by the Creator. And anything that's closely attached and aligned to that creation and to our Creator brings out our creativity. And then we are closest to where the truth and the light is. And when we're there, that evens out our thoughts and our feelings, so that those emotions and overthinking get into a place of balance, because you're truly aligned with that by which we were created. And I believe that our schooling system has been doing it on its head. It's a schooling system that was created for the Industrial Revolution to make sure that the next generation of mathematicians and scientists could get out there, but not everybody is aligned to being a mathematician and scientist. And I believe, rather like Montessori does, if you take a child in to begin with to be able to really embrace their creative zone, then they can step into the art of mathematics and the art of science and the art of sports, because that's where your soul being truly lies. So I saw that in terms of one's mental and emotional balance. So what we've done is we've made World Jenny's Day a whole year to remember. And from next year, we're starting once a month. We're doing workshops with the Epiphany process and an art. So we'll have workshops in writing, a workshop and finances, a workshop and singing, a workshop and dancing. So each month will be a different workshop which will impart vital life skills and incorporate the arts at the same time. Because after all, when people are put into rehab, what's one of the biggest things they're given to do to help them get out of their depression and suicide feelings? It's arts and crafts, because it really is what puts you through to there. So that's what we're seeing over the year. We've got a celebration, a closing ceremony on the 10th of October, on World Jenny's Day. Round the world, people performing and celebrating mental health wellness. And then a gala in the evening in London this year. Next year, we're looking at New York, and the following year at Tokyo. But this year, we've got a gala evening in London celebrating mental health wellness with performers, with celebrities. And that's how World Jenny's Day is now. And that has morphed with time and got to where it is. But the big picture is that the very people helping to lift spirits are often the very people most compromised. And unless you make it as a big star out there, there are so many performing artists and artists who are living the most dire lives from hand to mouth. So World Jenny's Day's profits will start a benevolent global fund that is going to help whenever a performing artist or artist is feeling compromised, is physically ill, is without work in between gigs, and most importantly, when they get to retirement age, they don't have to live a dire life of just barely existing. And I'm very passionate about that, because this is what puts people into balance. And the big legacy for World Jenny's Day is that those conversations will turn around as we put priority into being creative, and then being able to help people in every avenue of life that they are most aligned to, whether it's science, whether it's dance, whether it's mechanics, whatever it is, it starts from your creative being.
Congratulations, Jenetta, on everything that you've done. And I know how tirelessly you also work, and especially having lost your child, your daughter, your beloved, and then to be able to move forward and help other people and create this incredible event that will live long after we're all gone.
Oh,
Well
thank
done.
you, Dr. Jacalyn. In actual fact, there's the other part that I've also not mentioned, which is Insight Theatrical Production. And that was born in Kenya, which is very close to my heart. We brought in non-dancing Kenyan community and trained them to start dancing contemporary dance over 9 months. And then we put together a 2-act theatrical production that addresses depression, suicide, and solutions with contemporary dance, voiceover, song, visuals, as I say, in 2 acts. And it was so well received here in Kenya at its world premiere that it was asked to be performed in Europe. And then just after it was performed in Europe, we got COVID. So the big picture of that is to take that theatrical production, which really changes people's responses to depression and suicidal ideation. Watched people coming out of that theater changed and inspired and talking openly about how they were feeling. And so we want to take that and franchise that as well worldwide, and that'll be another charity arm of the Epiphany process.
Oh, I can't keep up with the two of you. Jenetta, is there anything that you would like to invite our audience to participate in for the event that you have, as well as the potential franchising opportunity?
I mean, if anybody is identifying with what I'm talking about today, please feel free to reach out to me and talk with me more. We're obviously looking for a lot of help when it comes to World Jenny's Day, because we are streaming worldwide for 24 hours, starting at 10 a.m. on the 10th of the 10th in New Zealand and finishing at 10 p.m. on the 10th of the 10th in London. And so that takes a lot of doing. And so if you would be inspired to be part of that, please do chat to me, either behind the scenes, or if you're a performer of some note, you're polished and well rehearsed, please come forward to me so that you might want to sing or dance or act, or if you're a comedian or a magician, or a choir or a band, whatever it is that you are specifically skilled at, please come and talk to me. We'd love to include you from anywhere around the world, because we're going over 24 hours. If you're somebody who's inspired by this and has some financial clout and you'd like to support us, we'd be very, very grateful for that, because obviously all that we're doing during the year and on the day itself, including a bike ride through Kenya from Kilimanjaro to Watamu. If you would like to be part of that and look at the finances, please do talk to us. And in terms of the franchise, if you'd like to know more about that production and how we're going to do it and be part of its reinvention after a 4-year break, I'd love to hear from you as well. And you can get hold of me at Jenetta, JENETTA, at the Epiphany Process, THEEPIPHANY process.com. Would love to speak to you. So please do feel free. And you can go and see the epiphanyprocess.com website. And we've just got a brand new worldjennysday.com website as well. Love to see you there.
Thank you so much, Jenetta. And please do reach out to Jenetta as well, to Dr. Justina. We have another comment from David. Wow, this is sweet words of wisdom. That's what I can say. Well, we appreciate it. Thank you. What I'm wondering is, as 3 women here who all have our own businesses, our own ideas, and influence. How can we work together, not just to support each other here on the screen, but to support other women and the legacies that they want to create? Any thoughts there?
Oh, I like that.
First of all, I wanted to say that in what I do, I also believe in what Jenetta believes. I believe that every child can succeed at something. We just have to give a child, to find out the talent that a child has and drive them in that way, encourage them in that way. Like she said, not every child can be a doctor, not every child can be a scientist or engineer, but every child can succeed in something. So some children will succeed in sports, some in entertainment, and some in the arts. Of course, some they can be a lawyer or doctor in a white collar jobs. As they say, if you give a fish, if you ask a fish to test a fish to climb a tree, it will fail. A fish can never climb a tree, but throw it in water and you will see it excel, because water is where this fish can succeed and not a tree. And this happens with every child. So even with me, with the work that I do, is to try and identify the talents of these children so we can know that each child can succeed at something. As Jenny rightfully said, I work in education, and I know that up to now, we are now in the 21st century, but the education system is still tagged to the 16th century, where we were looking for lawyers, doctors, and all of that. And within that, there's an inbuilt failure there was an inbuilt failure for most children who couldn't aspire to be doctors, accountants, engineers, and teachers. And so, like in my country, Zambia, and most African countries, it's only in recent years that they have recognized sport as a profession. It's only in recent years that they have recognized the entertainment industry, for example, musicians and models and people like that. Before, if your child said that they wanted to be a musician, parents were very unhappy with that child, that you can't just be, making noise. They considered music as just making noise. But now slowly we are all trying to understand that actually music and entertainment or performing arts can be a career, and can be a profession. And about working together, what Jenny's Day does is similar to another project that I have, which is called Positive Runway, the global catwalk to stop the spread. I started it to try and help the world achieve an HIV/AIDS-free world, so that we can have an HIV/AIDS-free generation in the next generation. So it is called, the tagline is a global catwalk to stop the spread of HIV and AIDS. So we work with models and beauty queens, fashion designers, and of course, celebrities from fashion, film, music, and television all over the world, as it is a global catwalk. So we go right around the world to raise awareness. To start with, we started with HIV and AIDS. And of course, when there was COVID, we tried to do that. And of course, we also work on any other issues that affect the young generation in a negative way. So with mental health, it's something that we could easily do as a Positive Runway. This is a journey that we can easily join up. This is an idea that we can easily work on with Jenny, because we already for Jenny World Day, because we already do that with the Positive Runway, the global catwalk. That's why we called it the global catwalk, to stop the spread, because in brackets it was to stop any scourges that affect the young generation or that affects the world in the negative way. So it mainly was during the time of HIV and AIDS. So it could be mental health, it could even be malaria. Then it is also, for example, negative migration. We worked on that during the United Nations Global Forum on Migration and Development. So we were using Positive Runway, the global catwalk, to stop the spread of negative migration and where migrants are ill-treated in the jobs that they do. So we did that through Positive Runway. There are lots of ways that we can connect with different people or different women and different groups to work with and to partner with, because as they say, if you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go with other people. So it's all, and it does take a village to, it takes a village to do anything proper. So partnerships is what it is, and we have the capability to do that, whether it is through the Justina Mutale Foundation or Positive Runway, the global catwalk, to stop the spread of anything that is affecting the world negatively.
I love that.
Incredible, wow. Dr. Justina. I love how open you are and how you're literally putting it out there for people to contact, to do partnerships. I think that is just brilliant. And you're a person who's very approachable for all the things that you're involved with. I've never had a, hey, don't bother me, I'm not interested. You're someone who's really open and is leading by example. So I applaud you for that. And thank you for the support that you have for other women as well.
Thank you. Thank
Absolutely. You. And thank you for the idea of the association. And I think perhaps talking about that, maybe it's about starting a legacy association or a legacy foundation or a legacy something for women, so that everybody can pool. It's kind of like saying, okay, I do this, is anybody aligned to that? And everybody's in the same group. And if that person that is aligned hasn't heard, the other person can say, you know, this has just been announced or whatever, so that there is an ability to broadcast whatever. It doesn't have to be on a broadcasting platform, but I'm using the word broadcast as in announcing to people what's happening. How we would do that would be a wonderful opportunity to brainstorm, really. You know, I was thinking synergy is about where two or more gather together, and the sum of what's created by two or more is far larger than each one doing individually and adding it up. It increases it so much more. You get far more impactful outcomes, and that suggesting that is such a good idea. It's like gets me right here.
That is right. They always say there is power in numbers. So you bring the numbers together and you have the power. Then you have the possibility to reach the world the way you want to reach it.
Yeah.
Because everybody then brings to the table. There are different networks. There could be networks that you were unaware of. They bring in skills that you might be lacking. They bring in knowledge. They bring in all kinds of things that you just then put together to make this whole big bang that can happen in the world.
So it sounds like we need to have a meeting to talk about how to move forward, how to put something into place and in action. We have another comment from David. Exactly, music. That's my profession. I promote and brand.
Okay, well, I'd love to chat with you more, David, because I grew up in the music industry in Kenya. And my father was known as the father of Kenyan music. So let's have a chat.
I love when things come together live on the air. It's fabulous. Well, I really thank both of you for being here today and for giving us so much inspiration and hope and things to think about and then put into action. So as we close out the show today, I'm going to ask each of you to leave something with our audience as people are celebrating holidays. I find that every day that I'm here on this earth is a holiday, is a celebration. So let's go over to Dr. Justina for some final words to close us out.
I think it's been said that every generation should ensure that the next generation has better chances than they had. For me, that is what I believe in. I'd like to leave the next generation much better than what we have. And for example, I did mention Positive Runway. Why I started Positive Runway was that I did not want the next generation to suffer what our generation has suffered from HIV and AIDS, for example. In Africa or Zambia specifically, because I lived there, we never had orphans, we never had street children until the pandemic of the HIV and AIDS. And I didn't want the next generation to suffer that. And of course, like I'm saying again, I'd like the African child or African adult, once they grow up and they graduate and grow up, to sit at this table with anybody from any part of the world and have that global perspective of looking at life, of understanding things, of how things work. That is the legacy that I want to leave. I want to leave an HIV/AIDS-free world and HIV/AIDS-free generation. I want to leave an African generation that has a global perspective and can sit and compete on equal footing with anybody from any part of the world.
Thank you, Dr. Justina. Really salute you and appreciate you. And we do have a comment from Chris Perry on Facebook. Legacy is so important to help the next generation, Justina.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. Jenetta, final words from you for today.
Yes, well, I believe that collaboration, when it is put together from a really balanced, open-hearted place, true collaboration is where we can ask what we would need to come through, but just as importantly, how we can help others to do what they feel is so difficult to do. And so often I've been in networking groups where it gets very one-sided. So for me, that legacy is being able to open hearts more and more and more, so that you step in going, what can I do for you? And then what can be done for yourself kind of follows through as well. And I think that's a really wonderful way to step forward with what we've just been talking about too.
Thank you so much, Jenetta. I agree with both of you. And just to close out, I want to leave a legacy of people who know how to listen at an elevated level. And not only do they have the skills, but they actually implement them every day in every situation that they possibly can. I know for myself, even though I teach people how to listen at an elevated level, sometimes I'm tired, sometimes I'm stressed out. And I find that we have to go back to the basics that we learn about listening, so that individuals, communities, relationships, organizations are all about us listening to each other. And let me not forget the politicians. Sorry. We have to start one person at a time. So that's all the time we have for today. And again, thank you, Dr. Justina. Thank you, Jenetta. Thank you for those of you who are watching live. We know most of our audience watches at their leisure, which is great. We like you whether you're here live or you're not, but we appreciate those who are watching live and commented. So thanks again. And we will look forward to seeing you again tomorrow when we start with a whole schedule of shows as usual. Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you very much, Jacalyn. Thank you, Janetta.
Thank you. Bye.